Hello, everyone, and happy Thursday. Thank you for joining us this morning or this afternoon, just depending on where you are located, for a product tour of the NovoEd Collaborative Learning Platform. We really appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to join us. And as this pandemic has put an indefinite hold on in-person training, businesses can't afford to push pause on their critical capability development. This challenge has prompted organizations to transition in-person training programs online, but how can you make the switch both thoughtfully and effectively? Our goal of this product tour today is to show you how you can leverage our platform to convert your in-person training to a collaborative, high-impact online learning experience. I just want to take a quick moment here to give you a brief overview of GoToWebinar before we begin, in case anyone is unfamiliar with the platform. Please note that you are all on mute. You can use your control panel as shown here on the right on this slideshow to submit questions at any time during the product tour. We will be stopping at the end, so please ask away. At the end of this webinar, an exit survey will pop up. If you could take a few moments, just fill out the survey and provide us with some feedback so we can continue to improve our webinar program. That would be greatly appreciated. Lastly, I do want to mention that this webinar is being recorded, and you will receive the recording via email tomorrow morning in case you want to rewatch it or share with any colleagues who are unable to make it today. I would like to take a moment to just introduce both myself and my colleague Amanda. My name is Jessica, and I'm the marketing manager here at NovoEd, and I'm joined today by my colleague Amanda DiFederici. Recently joining the team as a solutions consultant, Amanda brings 15 years of experience in learning and education to NovoEd as an e-learning product designer, instructional designer, library director, and music teacher. She is passionate about learning science and user experience and holds a master's of library and information science and a BS in music education from the University of South Carolina. We're both very excited to be here with you all today. For today's agenda, we will begin with an overview of NovoEd and our platform features before diving into a demo of our collaborative learning platform, which will be led by Amanda. At the end, we are going to pause and answer any questions that have come up. So if you have anything lingering in your mind, please send it our way. We'd love to make this as engaging as possible. So for anyone who is unfamiliar with NovoEd, our collaborative learning platform empowers organizations to design and deliver experiential learning that accelerates business performance on a global scale. Since the company's founding at Stanford's Social Algorithms Laboratory in 2012, global corporations, executive education providers, and training firms have relied on NovoEd to develop high-value capabilities through purposeful practice and application, coaching and mentorship, and group collaboration. NovoEd's proven approach to learning connects diverse groups of learners, mentors, and leaders in a high-impact online environment, unlocking your organization's collective knowledge and driving measurable outcomes. In 2018, we were actually acquired by Fidelity as a part of their EdTech strategy, and some customers that we work with include Kraft Heinz, IDEO, Comcast, and Stanford, as you can see on this slide here. So before we dive deeper, I'm just going to pause right here to launch a quick poll. We'd love to hear from all of you. You should see something pop up on your screen asking you what types of in-person training is your organization currently prioritizing to move online. You could take a moment and provide us with your answers. That'll really help us tailor this discussion. And please note that you can select more than one answer. If you happen to select other, please use the questions panel to let us know what we may have missed. So keep this open just for a little bit here so you can vote away. Thank you. Thank you to everyone who's voted so far. I still see some people responding, so I'll keep it open for about 10 to 15 more seconds. If you haven't voted already, please do so. Thank you. Great. Thank you to everyone who has voted so far. I'll go ahead and close out the poll and share the results with everyone here. So it looks like a vast majority of you are focused on leadership training. In our conversations with customers and other L&D leaders, we have heard the same results, that leadership training is a high priority and needs to be moved online. Following that, not surprising, is onboarding and innovation and change training. We've also seen a big increase in the need for sales training. So if you happen to type in other, please let us know what we might have missed. Thank you, everyone. So our platform is optimized for collaborative learning, a practice that's essential for facilitating behavior change. We have found that learning together results in greater impact and productivity, fosters more diverse and supportive professional relationships, and creates a sense of belonging. And most importantly, collaboration actively engages learners, prompting accountability, strengthening and sustaining learning, and fostering a dynamic learning culture. NovoEd enables peer learning and feedback between colleagues, mentors, and managers, and around relevant content, creating context in communities. These modern learning experiences are proven to be more effective in fueling organizational transformation at scale than any other L&D program platform out there. Through collaborative capabilities as well as practice and application, we help you deliver powerful, engaging learning experiences that address your most prevalent organizational challenges and facilitate positive behavior change. Some common use cases for our platform include digital transformation, leadership development, functional upskilling, diversity and inclusion, as well as employee onboarding. Recently, we've seen a much greater need to transition leadership development, sales enablement, and onboarding online. I just want to take a quick moment here to really orient you all with the learning tech ecosystem and where NovoEd fits in. So there's a lot of learning technology solutions out there, and so what you're seeing on here is a version of Josh Berson's technology stack. You might have seen this previously. NovoEd is focused squarely on delivering high-impact learning experiences that bring people together to collaborate on learning. We can integrate into other parts of your ecosystem. So NovoEd learning experiences can be accessed through your LMS or your LXP, and you can bring in existing content and various learning objects that you have built internally or have access to through content subscriptions. With all of that said, I'm going to turn around to Amanda, who's going to actually walk you through a live demo of our NovoEd collaborative learning platform.
All right. Hi, everyone. Give us a moment to switch screens. And you should be seeing my screen now. I'm actually logged in to our learner dashboard today. As a learner, we'll call her Leah Tan. Now, today I'm going to take you through the platform from 3 different points of view. We'll start with the learner experience, where you're going to see how Leah is going to go through a learning journey where she's going to be interacting not just with content, but also with her peers and getting support from her mentor as well as she goes through that experience. We'll take a look at the mentor dashboard where you can see we have a very streamlined process for mentors to support learners, give them feedback with a very low time commitment. And lastly, we'll take a look at our admin where we'll focus on our analytics capabilities that you can get out of the platform. So as Jessica was saying, we have a lot of different ways to get learners into a NovoEd learning journey. Learners can be enrolled directly into our platform. We have some customers using e-commerce integrations like with Shopify to get learners into the experience, but a vast majority of our customers who do have an LMS utilize that. And we integrate with that LMS so that learners are going to be launched from your LMS into the NovoEd experience. When they complete their NovoEd learning journey, then the completion data will go back to your LMS. So on this dashboard, Leah is going to see all of the courses that she has access to, plus any certificates that she's earned for courses she's completed. Now, I'd like to talk for a moment just about the really breadth of course formats that we see in the NovoEd platform. NovoEd you can really think of as a digital classroom. This is where you're going to be exposed to content, you're going to be exposed to your peers, and their ideas and opinions. You're giving each other feedback. You're working with a mentor who's checking in on you. And that can take place in a lot of different formats. We have some customers doing a very self-paced experience where learners do all of those things, but they do it at their own speed. We have many customers doing a cohort experience where, let's say, learners are going through a training. There's new material every week and they go through it together week by week. You get a lot of benefit with that format because the peer-to-peer learning is really amplified, because you have, let's say, 40 people participating in a discussion instead of just a few that happen to be pacing together. And lastly, many of our customers doing that cohort experience will also do a blended experience. That used to look like maybe a few days face-to-face and then several weeks of online learning. Now those face-to-face meetings have been replaced with virtual meetings, which we do support and integrate with, and we'll show you that in the platform. So today I'm going to jump into leading virtual teams. And in this course, Leah is going to be learning about, as a first-time manager, let's say, how she's going to lead her virtual team. The first thing I want to draw your attention to is just the overall user interface. We strive for a really modern, simple to use look and feel. It's attractive, and it is also 100% mobile responsive. So this looks great on a tablet. It looks great on a phone. But we also have native apps for both iOS and Android devices. And with those native apps, you get a couple additional benefits. Learners can download content and access it offline if they're away from Wi-Fi. They can also get native notifications, those little red circles that you see on your apps. Those notifications are important because with online learning, you want to have mechanisms to remind your learners to come back into the learning experience, especially if you're doing a cohort model where your training is stretched over several days or several weeks. So those notifications remind people to come back. You'll also see them here in the platform in the top left. We have our announcements, notifications, and messages. These live in the platform, but they also go to your learners' email addresses. So even if they're forgetting to log in every single day, you are still able to reach them and bring them back in. And learners are going to get notifications for things like someone commented on my post, someone gave me feedback on an assignment, my mentor sent my assignment back to me to review. All of those things are going to drive curiosity and bring people back into the learning experience. Let me minimize this now. The next thing I want to draw your attention to is the progress area. This is where learners can see how they are doing in terms of completing the journey. And you can completely control this in the admin settings. You can use a points system where learners earn points for things like participating in a discussion or doing an assignment or giving their peers feedback on an assignment. You can also use required to do items if there are certain things that must be done in order to complete the journey and then earn a certificate. This is fully customizable. You can have anywhere from 0 to 3 of these progress bars if you want to utilize them. And we're tracking all of those items here for learners. So it's very transparent and clear to them exactly what they need to do to finish this, this experience. If your culture is responds well to gamification, we also have a leaderboard, if you look in the top right here, that you can choose to turn on, and this will display the number of learners that you want it to, and it can drive some friendly competition if that works for your organization's culture. The next thing I want to draw your attention to is our right-hand side. Now, because we are a collaborative learning platform, learners are going to be talking to each other a lot in the course itself, which you see here in the center with these visual cards. They'll be doing discussion posts. They'll be giving each other feedback. They're going to be talking to their mentor. But we also have a few ways here on the home screen where they can browse each other's profiles. Everyone creates a profile, and this can be as detailed or as simple as you want it to be. You can ask additional questions of your learners so that they get more insight about each other. And you can also use those questions as filters in the analytics when you're ready to slice and dice your data and compare groups of people. But from here, you can see learners can send each other messages, invite them to join teams and groups, and to build community and build their networks. Coming down a little further on the right-hand side, you're going to see different groups that your learners can join. NovoEd supports both the concept of teams and groups. Groups are meant to be spaces where learners can network with each other around maybe common interests. Like here you see there's women leaders or multicultural leadership, or we often see them around specific job functions or geographic regions if you have a wide footprint at your organization. So here people are building relationships, building community. And what's interesting, we've seen with many of our customers, is that when the course is over and there's no more work for the learners to be doing, they're still logging in to come back and talk to each other in these groups. We also support teams, which you'll see in the course itself when we get to it. Teams are maybe like 5 to 7 people working together on projects together. And we support both types of groupings of learners. Last thing before we jump into the course itself, we are able to connect your learners to a mentor, or you can call this a coach or a buddy, whatever terminology you use at your organization. Down here at the bottom, Leah can click a button and see Mark, her mentor, and he's going to be checking in on her progress, giving her feedback on her assignments, and helping her along this journey. And he's just a click away if she needs to send him a message and ask him a question. So now let's talk about course content. Here in this course, we've organized this into a couple of modules, and within those modules, you'll see these cards. Each of these cards is a page of content. So you can see we're giving learners time estimates of how long they take, and also point estimates of how many points have they earned so far and how many points total they can earn on each page of content. Many of our customers, especially those doing a cohort experience, they might organize this as here's day 1, here is day 2, or week 1, week 2. You can completely control the hierarchy of this as you're setting it up. You can also release all of these at once, allowing learners to go through at their own pace, or you can set these pages to release at a specific date and time if you want to keep learners pacing together through the content in a cohort model. You can also set prerequisites if you want learners to complete everything on this first page before they can go to the second page. So let's dive in and take a look now at some content. If you are looking to keep a virtual meeting that's synchronous, meaning that everyone comes together at the same time, we do support integrations with virtual meeting software. So here you'll see we have a live webinar, and from here with the integration, learners are able to click on a button to register for this webinar, and then they'll be able to launch and join the webinar from here. So they don't have to run back to their email and find that information and then come back into the course. We are very big on streamlining things so that learners never have to click away from a page to go find something, because we know that when they do that, they're likely to get distracted and not come back. When the virtual meeting is over, the recording can be posted here. So you don't have to worry about doing that. And it also gives you an opportunity to post reference materials, like any documents you want your learners to have review before or after this virtual meeting. You can even have discussions happening before and after. What this does is it takes this event that might just be sort of a one-off thing and gives it more context. Now it's part of a learning experience because there are other things happening in conjunction with it. Now going back to my home screen, I am going to go into a page of content now because I want to show you just some of the most common things that we see in a NovoEd course and a little bit of what makes us so different. So with any online learning experience, you would expect to see, some text-based information. Videos are another very popular element that you see in online learning. With videos in our platform, you can embed them from YouTube and other places, but you can also upload them to our platform. And when you upload them, it gives you the ability to embed quizzes and surveys inside of the video, so you can take what's sometimes a passive learning experience and make it more active. Right below that, discussions are obviously really popular. With our discussion posts, you will note that we're not sending those learners away to a separate part of the platform to do that discussion. It's happening in line with the content, much like social media, right? Where we're going to read an article, we're going to watch a video, and now we're going to talk about it below. So you could structure this as with a prompt and asking learners to respond. They can reply to each other, and they can also do direct mentions to each other. And that will kick off a notification. Now I've given Janice a comment, so she's going to see that someone's talking about what I said. Let me go take a look at that. I'm curious now. And I also earned a few points for participating in this discussion. You can also like each other's posts as well. You could also set this up to have learners, maybe you want to give them an opportunity to ask the course facilitator a question. So you could set this up as like a ask me anything, where they can put all their questions in one place and then you can be responding to them. Another popular content type is obviously any documents that you have. And when you're coming from face-to-face training, maybe all you have right now are just slide decks or PDFs or Word documents because you were doing so much presenting in person. We make it really easy for you to bring that in here. It displays on the screen. You can allow learners to download it or not. Again, we're keeping them streamlined so that they don't have to download this and look at it later. It's all right here. And we can also do knowledge checks. So we have quizzing functionality. The questions are pretty robust. You can, obviously do multiple choice or check all that apply. You can even do short text, numerical entry even. This is a pretty good way to get a feel that learners understand what you've said, they know the basics, and they are able to get feedback from the system because you can give as detailed feedback as you want for these answer choices. But where NovoEd starts to become different from other platforms is where we get into actually asking learners to apply what they've learned and then demonstrate. Show me that you understand what we've talked about. And that comes in the form of our assignments. Now, assignments are essentially, you are asking the learner to create an object that demonstrates their mastery. That object can be, in this case, we're asking Leah to record a 30-second video of herself. But that object could be upload a document, take a picture of something, upload a spreadsheet, take a video. Whatever you want them to create, this assignment type can handle. So you set it up, and learners can answer a few, text-based questions. They can do a reflection here, and then they can upload that object. Now, in terms of getting them feedback, you have a couple of different options. This assignment has been set up so that it requires approval from a mentor. So when Leah finishes it, Mark is going to see her, see that submission in his dashboard. He's going to give her feedback, and he can approve it or he can send it back to her to try again. You also have the option to do peer feedback. So Leah is going to receive feedback from her peers. She's also going to give feedback to her peers, and you're able to give them a rubric that gives them, some insight into how they should be evaluating each other. That's very transparent to everyone. So this is a good opportunity now for me to switch gears slightly because I do want to show you what this looks like in our mobile app. So I'm going to switch over now. So you're looking, this is my cell phone. I've got the app downloaded. I'm going to log in to my course here, and you'll see here's that progress area. Here's all of those different pages of content in my course. So I'm going to come back into this one, and you'll notice that this is like identical to what we were seeing on the laptop. And from here, it's really easy to start your submission and go through and record your video and upload it to the platform. Also from here, you can give your peers feedback where you're going to see them appear in a gallery below. So you can click on one of them and you'll see your peers' responses. You can watch their video, which I've got muted. I'm going to keep talking over her, but you can see her there talking. And then you can give her feedback. And what's nice about this, though, is that I'm not just giving Paola feedback into a vacuum. I'm actually able to see what other learners are saying, including Darren, and even our mentor, Mark, has chimed in. So what's great about this and what's unique about this is that your learners are able to not just learn from your content, but they're able to learn from each other. They can see content that other users are generating, and they're going to learn from the discussions about that content. So learning becomes a bit more of an ecosystem than a top-down delivery of information. And this type of experience, looking at your peers and learning from what they're doing, you can tie this to assignments, but at any point, a learner can go to our submission gallery and browse any submissions by their peers. So anything that's been made public, they're able to see. They can see who's got the most likes, who's most trending. So if you've got some really rock star learners in your group, everyone can learn from them very easily. And for some learners, this is when things really click, is when they hear a peer describe it in their own words, and then they suddenly get it. So it's a really powerful way to learn. The last thing I want to show you from the learner experience is how we then take that peer learning concept to its highest level with collaboration. And we do that through our teams. Now with teams, we have, again, 5, maybe 7 people working together on a team. They're going to be completing projects together. So they will have an assignment that they're going to upload to the platform, just like we saw before. But we don't just put them into a team and say, okay, go figure out how to work together and then come back and tell us what you did. We provide them with a workspace in the platform to collaborate with each other. So here you're going to see in this space, we're tracking their important to-do items. They're having discussions here. They can share documents with each other. We have a scheduling tool where they can find a good time to meet synchronously to work on their project. But what's most important about this space is that it sort of recreates the feeling of sitting at a table at a workshop. And you get to know a couple of people really well. You might feel more comfortable asking them a question before you raise your hand and ask the whole group, or before you ask your mentor or your coach. It builds a lot of trust. It also builds a lot of accountability. And that's why we see, with our customers, those that are utilizing Teams, those learners have really high engagement rates because they do feel like they're getting support. From an administrator or a facilitator point of view, this also gives you the ability to scale your training. With in-person training, it's really difficult as an instructor to give a large group that kind of high touch, high quality experience. But in online, if you're utilizing Teams where people have the support of their peers, you're utilizing peer feedback, and you're utilizing a mentor to check in on people, suddenly you can have hundreds of people in an online learning journey, and everyone still feels like it was a really human experience. So that's it for the learner's journey that I'm going to show today. Please keep your questions coming in the chat and we'll get to them. I'm going to switch gears now though and show you our mentor functionality. So earlier we saw Leah was paired up with Mark. This is Mark's dashboard, and the whole theme of this mentor experience is streamline and ease of use. Here, if Mark maybe only has 15 minutes to just come in and check and see what's happening, he doesn't even have to go all the way into the course. Any important to-do items are going to be here waiting for him in the dashboard. But let's say today he does want to go in and take a look. So we're going to jump into the course, Leading Virtual Teams. And down here at the bottom, he has a See My Mentees button. This is going to take him to his mentor dashboard. And from here, he can see at a glance all of his learners and how they're doing in terms of progress, whether that's the number of points or the number of to-dos they've completed. So it's really simple to see, like, if someone's falling behind a bit, you might want to, reach out to them and see what's happening or give them some encouragement to continue their learning journey. Anything that needs Mark's approval or needs comments from him is going to appear in its own workflow. So here you can see that Sandy has submitted an assignment. Just like we saw with the peer evaluations, you click on it, it opens up in a modal window, and you're able to read it. You can watch the video, and then you're able to give feedback below. Now here, Mark might say, nice job, I like how you did X, Y, and Z, and he's going to approve it, and then she'll earn her points. Or he might say, nice job, but I want you to try again and focus on these things. He can send it back to her for revision. Then she'll get a notification and she'll go check it out. And all of that interaction between them is handled through the platform. Logistically, there's nothing anyone needs to do to make those connections between them. Now, let's say Mark thinks that Sandy did such an amazing job. He wants to hold her up as an example to everyone. He can check a box and make this feedback public so that everyone can see it, where by default it would be private. So this is a very qualitative way of giving your learners feedback. It is very powerful and motivating. But if you're looking to do something more rigorous and actually give people a score on what they've done, we do have options for that. Let me come back here. I'm going to find my learner, Jerry, and show you what a rubric looks like in our platform. So here I'm going to actually go to evaluate him. So I see his submission on the left, and on the right, I have a rubric. And I've got a couple criteria here. Did he have appropriate content? Did he use a clear speaking voice? And I have a slider for how I'm going to give him a score. Now, this can be much more detailed if you want it to be. You completely control how this is set up in terms of the criteria. If you don't like a slider, we have several other mechanisms that you can use for actually giving the score. And then down below, you can still give Jerry feedback, but it is a little bit more structured with this grid. It gives your people doing the evaluations more guidance. But really, that is it for the mentor. We want to keep this as easy as possible so that they can do this with a low time commitment and not be scared off by participating in the learning experience. They do have some basic level stats here of who's logged in, who's completed the journey, but the whole idea is we don't want to overwhelm them with too much stuff. But speaking of analytics, I'm going to switch gears now and show you what it looks like from the admin perspective. And we may even have a little time to look at how you edit content as well. I'm keeping my eye on the clock here. So as an admin, you have, you can see the course the way the student sees it, but you have this additional admin dashboard. And from here, you're going to do things like edit content, manage your users, the teams, the groups, do their course communications, and you also have access to the analytics, which I have open in a separate tab. So at NovoEd, we have two levels of analytics. We mentioned before that if you are doing an LMS integration, we're going to send you the completion data back, which is great and helpful for tracking purposes, but there is so much more rich data that we're capturing here that we want to make available to you. At the highest level, we're giving you insight into how your course is performing, the high-level summaries and visualizations here. So you can see things like how are people engaging with your assignments? How are people engaging with your discussions? You can begin to see some trends, like something we did in week 2 was really effective. I'd like to go back and look at it and see how can we replicate that kind of interaction throughout the entire course. With the video, as I said before, if you upload a video, you get some additional benefits. So I'm going to drill down into a specific one. And here I can see that, my average stats, that 82, most learners are watching 82%, which is okay. But I do get a more detailed histogram here of exactly when do learners drop out of the video. So I can see that most are watching 90 to 100%. I'm pretty happy with that, but if I saw a spike down here in these lower percentages, I would be concerned. Maybe there's a problem with the video. Maybe the video is just too long and my learners aren't going to sit through the whole thing. So that is definitely helpful information when you're trying to build your course and make it as effective and engaging as possible. But where this all becomes really powerful is when you dig down into the custom data downloads. So I'm going to show you that now. This dashboard allows you to generate a report of essentially anything that we are capturing in our system. So this can be very granular, very detailed, but fully customized to what you want. This is going to come to you as a CSV file, although we do have some APIs that will port this information into other systems. If you want to do that, you can always just get the CSV file as well. And many of our customers will take that and put it into, something like Tableau and combine it with other data that you have internally to get some really interesting insights. Creating these reports is incredibly simple. The first step is just define who you want to know about. And we don't limit you to just getting data about your learners. You can see data about your mentors or the teams themselves. So there's a lot of different ways to view the data. You can filter by those profile questions, like what field is someone in, what region are they located in, how many years of experience do they have if you ask that question. And then the next step is just to select what you want to see in your CSV file. You can include that profile information, so maybe you want to know their location and their job title. In terms of progress, you might want to know, did they complete? How many points did they earn? What percentage of pages did they look at? You can really see how engaged someone was. You can also see how engaged they were in the social activity. How many times did they contribute to a discussion? How many times did they contribute to their team? And then there's the learner activities. Let's say you want to know about a specific assignment. So you select assignment 1. You get an additional menu of options of everything you could want to know. Like how many points did they earn? How many comments did they receive? And that level of detail is the same for the peer feedback or the quizzes. If you want to get, see exactly what questions and answers they chose and how many they got right. What did they say in the discussion posts? How many seconds of video did they watch? Did they participate in the live event? We're capturing really everything here. And the last step is just to save this to the dashboard and then come back to it later and rerun it with refresh data as many times as you need to. I'm going to take just a very quick couple minutes to show you how to edit content in the platform, because I know for many customers that we work with who are coming from face-to-face training, they feel really intimidated that, like, I don't have all these like interactive tutorials. I don't have simulations, where people are clicking around. I'm here to just tell you that that's totally okay. We are focused mostly on the interactions between people, because that is what motivates people to come back into an experience and continue learning and gives learning its greatest impact. And the tools that we have in our platform are so easy to use, and you're going to see that right now. So as an admin, I can come over here to this top right area and click on edit content. Here you're going to see that I've already got some content in here. I've added some images, I've added text. Here I've got a document that's been uploaded to the platform. I built a little quiz here. Maybe I want to make this a to-do item, so I can check a box here. It makes it a to-do. We also, if you have licensed content from LinkedIn Learning or other places, that can be embedded here as well. So you could have them watch a LinkedIn Learning video and then have a discussion about it right below. You can really stretch the efficacy of that object by making it, adding on more interactive elements where learners have to reflect on it or they have to do something with it. Even if you have want to use SCORM packages, we can embed those in here as well. And again, it gives you that opportunity to take this object and do additional things with it, add discussions, make it part of a project even. Those come over just as well. But let's say I want to add some new content. So find wherever you want that content to go. You'll see this little add button, click on that, and here's your menu of options. So again, if you're uploading or embedding video, audio, or your files, that's going to be here. If you want to add text, that's here. If you want to embed things that are hosted elsewhere, like YouTube or Vimeo, that's fine. Or you can bring in those objects you already have through SCORM or LTI. This is where you'll also create those live video events if you want to have a webinar. So those are the pieces where you're bringing content into the platform. Now, if you want to get learners applying what they've learned, you can build easily build quizzes or assignments. It's called a challenge here, but that's the same thing as an assignment. We have a built-in survey tool, so learners could take surveys and you can download the results. You can even have a timed exam. And then you can make this a social peer learning experience by adding discussions or having learners give each other that peer feedback, whether it's public, where they're doing comments, or it's private. Now, this may seem like a lot of options, but these are so simple to use, and I'm going to show you how with this template. A template is just a visual element if you want to add some visual structure to your course pages and make them interesting. You just select the kind of template you want. And here you're going to see, I'm just going to type in some text, and it's prompting me to upload a background image. So I'm going to do that real quick. And this looks pretty good, and I don't need to know how to code to do this. I don't need to know HTML, CSS, or anything. It's all built in for you. I can even edit this additionally without, and you'll see I have a template here to work with. I have options where I can make it bigger, I can move it, I can even play with the color. There's a palette here for you to use, or you can use your hex codes if you want. All of this without any coding knowledge whatsoever, and everything is like that in the platform. The quizzes and the assignments, there's a template that you just write in the text that you want to appear, and you choose the type of object you want your learner to upload, and it's that simple. So not a lot of work to build these courses. However, if you are feeling intimidated about doing it for the first time, we do have professional services that can help you. Maybe you want them to do it all for you, or maybe you want them to just check over your work and see, are you doing this, setting this up in an optimal way. That's really a spectrum of options, and we can support you anywhere on that spectrum that you feel is the right fit for you. So that is my admin side. Jessica, I'm happy to turn it back to you now for the Q&A portion.
Great. Thank you so much, Amanda, for walking us all through the NovoEd platform. And we've had some great questions come in. So thank you to everyone who has sent us questions. And obviously, if you have more questions, please send them our way. We want to make this very interactive. Amanda, we've gotten some questions about our live webinar feature. Can you kind of talk a little bit more about that? What tools are available? How is this integrated?
Yeah, absolutely. So that live webinar feature works with, GoTo, with Zoom, with Citrix. I mean, in any virtual meeting software that you're using, we can work with it. Zoom does have some additional bells and whistles because we have a native integration with it, but any type of software that you're using will work.
Great, thank you so much. Yeah, people really seem to be interested in that, so thank you for answering that question for us. So going back to the feedback that we saw in this course, does it all have to be public? Are there times where we can make feedback private?
Absolutely. You can control that in the settings of the assignment. Also, I have seen sometimes a learner might decide that they don't want other learners to see their assignment. They want to submit it just to the facilitators or to their mentor, so they can do that as well. It's really flexible.
Perfect. And Amanda, you kind of touched on this very recently as you're walking through our various templates, but from what you've seen, how much effort does it take to set up a course and run one?
Yeah, getting your content in and determining the flow of how you want the learning experience to unfold. I think that's really the biggest step, and that's just at the design phase. But when it comes to putting the content in, I mean, we've seen customers get up and running in a matter of weeks to get their course started. Versus, we're not talking months here to get something off the ground. It's really thinking more in terms of weeks.
Great, thank you. We have two more questions that I'm seeing here. Referring back to the mentors, how are those assigned in each of the courses?
As an admin or a facilitator, you control, how learners get assigned to a mentor. So there's a bulk upload feature where once you have your mentor users added and you've given them that specific role, then you just upload a list of learners to each of them, and then they'll begin to see each other in the platform. That part happens automatically.
Great, thank you. And then one last question I'm seeing here, actually two more questions, sorry about that. This goes back to kind of the live webinar integration that you were just talking about, just asking for a little bit more detail. So if you are integrating this into the platform, does it open up into a new window, or is it, do you join the webinar from within the platform?
I believe it's going to open it in a new window. And although with Zoom, you may have the option to upload it inside of the platform, so you're watching it on screen. But I'm happy to check with our product team and see what the difference is there. But that's what I believe it is.
Perfect. I know we are just at time, so just one more question about the LMS integrations. If we don't have an LMS, do you see this as an issue?
Oh, absolutely not. Many of our customers don't have an LMS, or they choose not to use it. We have you can bulk enroll people from the admin by just uploading a spreadsheet of names and emails, and it's perfectly fine to use it without an LMS.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And again, I really want to be mindful of everyone's time here. So thank you so much for joining us for a live webinar today. We really had a great time with you all. And we know that you have very busy schedules given this whole new kind of work from home culture. So thank you so much for taking time and choosing to be here with us today. If you are interested in learning more or would like to see a personalized demo that goes deeper into some of the features that you saw today, please type yes into the chat box, and we'll be happy to follow up with you after the webinar. I do want to mention that we recently released a new infographic about how to scale your online training program. So if this is top of mind for you, you can use your phone here to scan the QR code listed to view the infographic if you're interested. We will be sending out a recording via email within 24 hours. So please keep an eye out for that. Upon exiting this webinar, an exit survey will pop up. If you could take a moment to provide us with some feedback on your experience today, we would greatly appreciate that. Thank you again for joining us. We really, really appreciate you being here, and we hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.